Hey, book chapter verse channel. So I have an interesting saying for you that you may want to actually very much know about, and this goes against racism, against diseases and all that. People think, oh, it's a black disease. No, it's a black curse. Actually, I have a thing to tell you. Now, you think diabetes is a black disease? Well, it's an American disease as well. It's an Italian disease as well. And the reason why people are getting diabetes in Africa, and basically African Americans are getting diabetes, this is not short, is because, well, honestly, it's really because they're just eating rice. They just eat rice in the poor countries, and that's all they know how to eat. And they've learned how to eat only rice and fish. And the Italians have really been known to eat pasta and fish. And fish is not the diabetic thing, by the way. And the Chinese also have a high rate of diabetes. They mainly eat rice and fish. And I'm not trying to go against you guys. I'm just saying that because anyone that is basically eating pasta or rice and fish, and just eating mainly pasta or rice, and that's it, you're most likely going to get diabetes in your familyhood too. So if someone ate mainly rice or pasta in many generations back, especially in Africa and Italy and China and in Japan, those people are going to be counted for diabetes. Now let's end diabetes right there, because diabetes is from a family history of eating starch, and my family ate a lot of starch from pasta, and I learned that pretty much the easy way and the hard way. So anyway, let's end it there. Now, another disease that black people get that I know about, and that is practically infertility. And no, this is not an issue of people are abusing the black body. This is not an issue of people being poor and abusing the black body. No, this is not an issue of racism. No. People in the white countries, let's say Europe especially, they've had fertility, booming because, especially in America, because, well, people have ended up literally doing wonders with baby. It's like the baby boomers started with, a good generation of us. And black people, well, why is the baby boomer not happening? And especially in Africa, well, in Africa they've abused their bodies, and in Africa, people have started to abort because of STDs and all that. Well, they're just confused there. Because in poor countries, the parents do not want to have a baby suffer being poor, so they abort whenever they can. So that's one of the reasons. Another reason is because they're so poor, they don't know how to give proper birth techniques, and they just give birth whatever the way they want. That's really the main reason why, because they just don't read from the Israeli people. Like, they don't teach people the way they used to back in Israel, let's say. In Israel, they properly give birth. But in Africa, well, they've pretty much, some of them have gone to the wild and gotten poor that way. But places like Ghana, let's say, have it better because they are basically, well, in some ways they're just as bad. But in other ways, well, let's say, they've had princes and they've had kings, just like we do. Even though it's like more different ways of doing things, but because they did everything the different way, they've had infertility problems. And obviously, the reason why they have infertility problems is because, well, the issue is not with black people. The issue is with not teaching the original way of giving birth. God taught Adam and Eve, and they went along with the path. And now we have people in Africa leaving that way, and now they are having problems giving birth. And the reason is not because of racism. The reason is because of their own teaching. Now, back in Noah's day, when Noah got naked, when he was drunk, the black brother, let's say, became a servant because, well, he did the wrong thing and everyone else did the right thing. But let's say people in Brazil, they're the same way of having the same problems like people in Africa do. And in Hawaii, the same people are having the same problems. And people that were originally from America and the Native Americans are having the same problems. So if you leave the way of tradition of giving birth, which is a medical thing I don't understand, then we have real problems with, passing along the generation. So the reason why there's a lot of babies in Africa is because that's another reason why they are having problems, because they're having multiple wives, they're having multiple husbands, and they're constantly having sex like no tomorrow, yet their babies are dying off pretty fast, and their babies are also being aborted, and their babies are also having problems. And the more you abort your children, the more you abort your fetus, and your fetus cannot work anymore. And the only other racial issue with that is, well, honestly, it's because of Shem. It's because of Ham. Ham is the real reason why we're serving. Ham is the real reason why they're serving us. They've been racially segregated because of Ham. And it's because it's a spiritual thing. Obviously, Africa is the way it is because of Ham. Africa has had problems because of Ham. So then we are becoming slaves because of Ham. And Africa's had racism because of Ham. So racism is one of the contributors. And I guess it's like, and this is the same thing happened with the Edomites. They didn't know what they're doing with birth, and they had problems with health, and now they're no longer around us. They could be, let's say, very few, but they're no longer, you can no longer hear about people that have red skin and red hair. You very rarely hear about them. They're probably 1 in a billion too. So remember, read the whole big picture. Africa has its problems, and it's because they're poor and they just are rebellious because of Ham. Ham isn't the big reason, but one of the reasons is because God said that they shall serve us, or you shall serve us. Even then, the people of the different color than mine, or different ethnicity, those people that are brown right here, or all over, I should say, those people are having the best time you can imagine with God. But with Satan, they're having the very worst time. So every time they rebel, they're having problems health-wise. Every time they are doing good favor with God, their health may not be great, but they're improving. Remember this. The more you serve God right, the more right standing you are with everything, including health, okay? Alright, it'll be done, okay? Bye.